Hi friends, and welcome back to the second edition of Kinesics or Kinesics. As mentioned in the last episode, Kinesics is about appearances, gestures and facial expressions, and to an extent the posture. I did speak about appearances and the importance of it in my last session. Today I'm going to touch upon gestures, and when you listen to this and watch me, you will realize how important our entire body language is when we are actually communicating to people. And hopefully we will all realize that more than words, it's our body that speaks. It's our hands, it's our legs, it's our feet that actually talk more than our words actually. Most of the time, we accompany our speech, we accompany the words with body language and gestures to actually add to the meaning. Say for example, you can think of a judge sitting in a courthouse, at least we've seen a lot of it in TV serials and movies, when he bangs the gavel on the table. More than him saying order, order, it's the body language and the gesture when he's banging the gavel on the table. That actually gives out much more meaning. And I'm sure all of us at some point or time or the other may have watched TV news or any other episode where we are dealing with deaf mute. So they do the entire process through sign language with no word spoken at all. These two hands are so powerful in actually getting the message across to the other person, you will be surprised and shocked. You can actually seal your lips and absolutely not say a word and yet be able to get your meaning across to the other person. This famous question that most people ask you is, how would a deaf mute ask for a pair of scissors? The answer is obviously this, correct? And then they go on to say, how will a blind person ask for a scissors? Most of the time when I've asked this question, 95% of the time people again say, same way. That's when you say a blind person cannot see but he can still speak. So why would he use this gesture? It only goes to show that all of us who still have our faculties around us and are able to speak, we still use gestures to actually get that meaning across even better. I think one of the first things we were all taught when we got into a formal environment is the handshake, which will probably get redundant thanks to what's happening in the world today. The handshake, the hand up or the hand below, the glove, the clammy fish, all of these different types of feelings and gestures that we use our hands for. And today everybody says this is probably the best way of greeting each other so that there is no contact. Even when that namaste is said, we're actually saying a lot through our hands. It goes on to say, all the 5 fingertips of our hands are together, and when we put them together, our entire body's energy is into that. And when we wholeheartedly say this, you don't have to speak out the word namaste. This and a little bow of your head is more than enough to tell the other person that you're greeting him. I think we all, thanks to Facebook and so many other social media, are so used to emoticons or emojis or GIFs. I wonder if I said that right. But when you see this, what am I indicating, Zaina?
Okay.
And when I say this,
Good job or good.
and this,
Put your hand a little down.
and this,
That means dislike or no.
okay, and this,
That means a heart.
and this,
I love you.
okay. So these are very few of the common gestures, and this I love you is actually a universal sign language for deaf mutes. It says I love you. But we don't go through the 3 stages, we just say this and the person in front of you can understand it. So that is how important gestures are. A lot of us have watched dance performers, and a lot of us have seen how the dancers, before they actually start dancing, would do this and a namaste up and then touch the ground and come up again. This is a gesture without speaking out, which actually says that I am showing my respect to the entire world and my audience. I'm saying a big thank you and a namaste to God above. And when I touch the ground, this is something that I heard, especially in Indian classical dance. They touch the ground and tell Mother Earth that I'm sorry, I'm going to be jumping on you and dancing. So if I hurt you, I'm saying sorry in the beginning itself. Gestures, gestures, gestures. Try it, people out there. Just try communicating with people without any sign language, without any words. The silent communication these days is all of us sitting on a dinner table and 70% of people are there on the phone with the fingers running over there. We don't really speak to each other, and that gesture itself is telling the other person that, okay, I'm listening, but I'm not listening. Sitting in a classroom or sitting in a training room, a lot of us have suddenly just done that and tried to stop that yawn. And immediately the teacher or the trainer looks at you and gives you one of those looks and saying, is my session so boring that you're yawning? There are various reasons for yawning, but we do it. And I've seen many people who desperately try to hold that yawn back and do something to that effect, but it becomes so obvious that you're yawning. I can keep talking about gestures because that is what it's all about. And any of you over there who have actually dealt with a deaf mute or a blind person will know exactly what I'm talking, how important it is for gestures. Deaf mute for sure, because to get across to them, they can give you so much. And I just want to bring in an international angle here. Zena, I'll need your help once again. What is this?
Oh, that's a Korean finger heart.
So apparently in Korea, more importantly South Korea, would that be right?
Korea in general.
In Korea in general, use this indication to say it's a heart. So they don't have to say anything, just put this forward to say, okay, I'm sending my love to you, or heart. And then they do this.
That's the body heart.
That's the body heart. Again, an indication used in Korea mostly. Another gesture that we have taken from the Western world and completely changed the meaning is this. This today is actually perceived as an abusive gesture, like whatever, you know what I'm talking about. But there is a history to this, and if you go to Japan, when they point and you ask them for directions, they do not use their index finger to show you directions, they show you this finger to show you directions. That is their international body language and gesture. So would we get upset that he's shown me the middle finger? That's not true. Just a very quick background on where this middle finger gesture came from. This goes back to the World War days, when we didn't have ammunition like guns and rifles and cannons. So people used to use the bow and arrow. And so when you have to pull the bow back, you use these two fingers. You use the middle finger and the thumb to pull the arrow back and release it. So the story goes how the French told the Britishers that we are going to win this war and cut your middle fingers off. And eventually, as we all know, it didn't happen. So every time the soldier walked past them, he showed this, that my middle finger is still intact. So that's where the gestures background came from, is to say that this is intact, so my self-esteem is still intact. Somewhere along the generations and somewhere along the years, this gesture became a gesture to show that I don't respect you, so go to hell kind of a gesture. So I think I'm going to end this session with this gesture. No, I'm going to end this gesture with asking all of you, I love you and stay safe and wait for the next video. Thank you.